Ever seen someone try to dock a sailboat like they're parallel parking a car and fail spectacularly? Yeah, we've all been there. Sailing might look graceful from the shore, but for beginners, it's a minefield of little mistakes that can turn a dreamy day on the water into a nightmare. I've made plenty myself, and I've watched others make even worse ones. So let's walk through the 10 biggest rookie mistakes I've seen out there, so you don't have to learn them the hard way. One of the fastest ways to turn a good sail into a bad memory is by loading the boat like it's a moving truck. I get it. New sailors are excited. They bring everything they think they might need. Coolers full of drinks, half the wardrobe, extra chairs, and maybe even a big stereo setup. And if guests are coming along, multiply that clutter by 3. Before you know it, you've got a boat that rides low in the water, moves like a barge, and creaks at every wave. But here's the thing, sailboats are built with balance in mind. When you weigh them down too much or unevenly, performance tanks fast. You'll feel sluggish under sail, steering gets sloppy, and if weather picks up, things can get unsafe real quick. I've seen folks nearly take on water just from overloading the cockpit. If it doesn't serve a purpose or bring safety or comfort, leave it behind. Sail light, sail smart. You'll be surprised how freeing it feels to have just the essentials and space to move around. It's not just about safety. It's about enjoying the boat the way it was meant to be sailed. I've said it before and I'll say it again. What you don't check before you leave the dock can ruin your whole day. Skipping your pre-sail inspection is like heading off on a road trip without checking the tires, oil, or gas. And yet, I see new sailors cast off all the time without even glancing at their rigging, fuel level, or bilge pump. One time I watched a fellow launch straight into the harbor, smiling like a kid on Christmas, only to drift back 20 minutes later with his main halyard fouled and his outboard sputtering. All of that could have been avoided with a 5-minute once-over before departure. A solid pre-sail inspection means checking the engine, if you have one, looking over your rigging, making sure your lines are in place and untangled, your sails are ready to hoist, and your safety gear is accessible. Don't forget the basics like the weather radio and life jackets too. It doesn't have to be complicated, it just has to be consistent. Make it a habit, like brushing your teeth. You'll thank yourself when something small could have become something big but didn't because you caught it in time. Sailing with friends or family sounds like a great time, and it can be if everyone knows what they're getting into. One common mistake beginners make is not preparing their guests. Most people don't grow up around boats, so what feels like common sense to you might be brand new for them. Before you even untie from the dock, take a couple of minutes to go over a few basics. Show folks where to sit, explain how to stay balanced when the boat heels, and point out what not to grab, like lines under tension or the boom. Let them know this is still a boat, not a floating lounge. If they need to move around, teach them to keep low and use handholds. Also, be upfront about the plan. If it's going to be a mellow sail, say so. If it might get sporty, give a heads up. People do better when they know what to expect. And if someone gets seasick, have a plan for that too. A quick chat at the beginning sets the tone, helps everyone feel more comfortable, and avoids problems down the line. Clear expectations make for happier guests, and a much more enjoyable day on the water for you. There's no rush to get those sails up if you haven't learned how to bring the boat back in safely. A lot of new sailors skip straight to the fun part, sailing, without getting the hang of docking first. But if you can't dock confidently, you're setting yourself up for a stressful end to what should be a great day. Docking is where precision matters most. You're working in tight quarters, often with wind or current pushing you the wrong way, and there's no room for error, especially in a crowded marina. If you're not practiced, even a gentle bump can damage your boat or someone else's. Before heading out, spend some time getting comfortable with docking. Practice approaching slowly, learn how to use your throttle in short bursts, and get the hang of using lines to control the boat once you're close. Always have your fenders out and lines ready before you make your move. It's not the most exciting part of sailing, but it's one of the most important. Once you're confident docking under different conditions, you'll enjoy your sailing trips a lot more, knowing you can finish the day without stress, damage, or drama. A sailboat works best when everything's in its place and running smooth, and that starts before you ever leave the dock. One big mistake beginners make is skipping a full check of their lines and rigging. It might seem like everything's ready to go, but a line caught around a winch or a halyard snagged on a spreader can cause all kinds of trouble once you're underway. Before you head out, Take a few minutes to walk the deck and run through the setup. Are the halyards free and not twisted? Are the sheets led cleanly through the blocks? Are the sails ready to raise without snagging on lazy jacks or battens? Give every line a quick pull and make sure it moves the way it should. It's also a good idea to glance at the standing rigging, things like your shrouds and stays. Look for anything that looks off, fraying, loose turnbuckles, or unexpected movement. It doesn't need to be a deep technical check, just a routine scan for anything that looks unusual. Doing this consistently builds confidence and helps you avoid surprises. It's one of those little habits that separates a cautious, competent sailor from someone just winging it out there. Sailing without checking the weather is like heading into the woods without a map. It's one of the most common mistakes beginners make, and it can turn a fun outing into a fight against the elements. Just because it looks sunny when you're leaving the dock doesn't mean conditions won't change, sometimes fast and without much warning. Before every trip, check at least one reliable marine forecast. Pay attention to wind speed, direction, potential storms, and sea state. Wind that's comfortable at the dock can feel a lot different once you're out on open water. And while a quick summer squall might blow over in 20 minutes, it can be intense enough to cause damage or scare the crew. Don't just check once. Keep tabs on the weather throughout the trip. A small handheld VHF or weather app with live radar can be a huge help. If it looks like things are turning, don't wait too long to turn back or seek shelter. The best sailors know when not to go out at all. Understanding the weather isn't just about comfort, it's about safety. Good judgment on when to sail is just as important as how you sail. Every boat needs a clear leader when it's underway. One of the quickest ways for things to fall apart is when there are too many people trying to take charge, or worse, nobody at all making decisions. It's surprisingly common with beginner crews, especially when friends or family members all think they know what's best. If you're the skipper, own that role. Be clear about what needs to happen and who's doing what. You don't have to bark orders or be overly strict, but you do need to lead. Confusion leads to mistakes, and hesitation in tricky situations, like docking or tacking in heavy wind, can get you into trouble fast. On the flip side, if you're out with someone more experienced, give them the space to lead. Too many voices in the mix can make a mess of even a simple maneuver. Designate roles clearly and stick to them. Good crew communication starts with good leadership. That doesn't mean a dictatorship, but it does mean someone needs to steer the ship, both literally and figuratively. A clear chain of command makes everything safer, smoother, and a whole lot less stressful. Anchoring seems easy, until it's not. And trust me, you don't want to figure it out for the first time when the wind's picking up, daylight's fading, or your engine's acting up. Too many beginners wait until they have to anchor before they learn how, and that can lead to all sorts of trouble. Anchoring is one of those skills you want to be comfortable with before you need it. Practice in calm, open water on a nice day. Learn how to set the anchor, how much rode to let out, and how to check if you're dragging. Make sure you've got the right anchor for your seabed, mud, sand, rock, and that your gear is in good condition. Knowing how to anchor confidently gives you more freedom. You won't be tied to marinas, and you'll have a solid plan B if something goes wrong. Plus, it's a good feeling to know you can stop the boat and stay put, whether it's for a swim, a meal, or to wait out bad weather. Like docking, anchoring isn't glamorous, but it's one of those core skills every sailor needs in their back pocket. It's tempting to rely on GPS and apps these days. Everything's right there on your phone or chart plotter, but sailing without basic navigation skills is risky. Batteries die, screens glitch, and cell service isn't guaranteed out on the water. If you can't figure out where you are or where you're going without a device, you're flying blind the moment tech fails. Every sailor should understand how to read a paper chart, use a compass, and identify basic markers and buoys. Learn how to plot a course, measure distance, and spot depth zones. Knowing how to orient yourself using landmarks or the sun can also come in handy, especially in coastal cruising. It doesn't take long to learn, and the payoff is huge. Being able to navigate on your own means you're not dependent on electronics, and that adds a serious layer of confidence and safety to every trip. Navigation is about awareness. It's not just where you're going, but what's around you: shoals, channels, restricted areas. When you know how to find your way using more than just a screen, you're sailing smarter. It's easy to overlook safety gear when you're excited to get out on the water, but it's a mistake that can cost you dearly. I've seen beginners forget life jackets, skip the safety briefing, or stow emergency gear somewhere they can't even reach it. In calm weather, it feels unnecessary until something goes wrong. Before every trip, do a quick safety check. Are there enough properly fitting life jackets for everyone? Is your VHF charged and working? Do you know where the flares, first aid kit, and fire extinguisher are, and how to use them? What about a throwable device or a flashlight? Even if you never need any of it, just knowing it's all in place makes a difference. And if something does go sideways, a MOB, man overboard, situation, an unexpected injury, or even engine trouble, having the right gear and knowing how to use it is crucial. Safety gear isn't just for dramatic moments. It's there for the unexpected, which is just part of life on the water. Make it a habit, and you'll never regret being prepared. All right, that's the list. 10 of the biggest mistakes beginners make when they're just starting out on the water. If you recognized a few of these from your own early days, don't worry. You're not alone. Every sailor, no matter how experienced, has had their moments of, "What was I thinking?" The key is learning from those moments before they turn into something more serious. Sailing is one of the most rewarding things you can do, but it demands respect. A bit of preparation, some steady practice, and a healthy dose of humility go a long way. Start with the basics, stay curious, and keep sharpening your skills. Most of all, stay safe and enjoy the ride. Thanks for sticking with me through this list. If you found it helpful, share it with a fellow sailor who's just starting out. And if you've got a mistake you made early on, or one you've seen others make, drop it in the comments. We're all learning, and the more we share, the better sailors we all become. Until next time, fair winds, calm seas, and may your lines always be untangled. Catch you out there.